For this review I not only handpicked my clothes, but even the whole background for you, that everything fits together with the cyan beige color of this Audi A6 e-tron. Audi's new approach to the large EV segment, the low one, not SUV, sedan or an Avant. And does it work? How good is it? We will also take a look at the sporty model, the S6 for you. And we're going to talk about how does the A6 and the S6 rate to the competitors like the BMW i5, which is also available as a touring, or the Mercedes EQE, or even internally from the VAG Corporation, the VW ID.7. We're going to find out here with Thomas Nadegefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. With a large mask here all the way closed, because in the top there's not so much cooling needed then. Two-dimensional Audi rings, and they're also grayed out a little bit in here. The headlamps, in the top part you have the daytime running light. There are different signatures you can handpick actually available, and also the matrix LED light at this special indicator effect. Yeah, and the main headlamp unit here in the lower part, this is split, and this has already received some criticism. I've saw in the comments with the static reveal. The original concept there looked a little bit cooler, or what's your take on that? The LED structure is, by the way, a base, mid-trim, and then the highest trim with all the matrix LED features and so on. Then the length here is 4,93 meters or 194 inches. So yeah, basically a full-size sedan, Sportback, Avant, depending on the building style. So this is the standard building style that is also only available on the Northern American market. Here the Sportback, I would call it that way because they call it that way, and it's also a liftback opening, soon more to that. And as an alternative on the European markets, for example, and also in some Asian markets, you can also get the Avant, the estate form. Wheels from 19 to 21 inch. These are the biggest 21 inch. Massive styling here, of course. And yeah, the best CD value of 0.21 for the Sportback you can then, of course, only achieve if you have the according spec with, the best efficiency features. And one of them is also here, the digital mirrors. So a new feature is that when I close the vehicle, they now automatically fold in and out, so it's a nice feature to protect them, for example. And of course, this is more aerodynamic than a classic mirror. However, me personally, I'm a fan of classic mirrors, and they are still available. This is only an option, so you don't have to go for it. What about the front? If you have the key in your pocket, then we can also use this sliding function here. There we go. So, and there's the sensor. Then you have to unlock it manually here. Then you have access to the frunk. There we go. Oh yeah, it can easily house a charging cable or whatsoever. We did have that with the Porsche Macan, by the way. And there, for example, it was a problem in rain that the sensor didn't react. Not sure if it's the same here. Maybe here the rain falls down a little bit easier than with the Macan. So we also have to test it in rain, then maybe at the later stage. But I think it's a nice idea. Towards the rear, here the Sportback, you see this falling roofline, but I think the Avant also looks nice, definitely. And then light strip goes all the way through. Here we've already discovered maybe here the approaching light, or this sensor that is saying like, hey, you're too close to the vehicle, there it goes again. So this communication with the outside world with light technology. You also have the effect when you hit the turning indicators. Again, they look pretty cool. But they also add a feature, emergency triangle, as a special warning then when the hazard lights are actually on. Yeah, why not? And you can also get illuminated Audi rings at the rear in red. They look really striking, don't they? Tell me in the comments. Then the black contrast here in the lower part, diffuser style. And we of course have to talk about the technology. So you have two different battery sizes. The entry-level battery has net capacity of 76 kilowatt hours net. The bigger one, which is also equipped with this one here, 95 kilowatt hours net. And the concise range, we'll do some driving here today. It will be quite efficient as this sedan form, of course, especially in the Sportback, but we want to find out ourselves without, stating all the official range figures, so more to the range than later on. Different acceleration figures. Note that all acceleration figures you'll read or hear are always tuned with the launch control. Without launch control, it's a little bit slower, but with the launch control, maximum acceleration, it starts at around 6 seconds to 1 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. Then this one here, rear-wheel drive, big battery, is at 5.4 seconds. The overdrive version with a little bit more power tune is 4.5 seconds. And the S model, the S6, also available, is at 3.9 seconds. Gotta say though that the S model, just from the exterior, is not too different to the normal model, I have to say. That's a trend we recently see with more and more Audi models, definitely. Then, about recharging, first of all, what's really interesting, we have automatic charging flaps on both sides. So we start here on the driver's side, and that will also be the case for the UK models. And here, on this side, you have the AC and DC charging. There we go. Yeah, this charging flap here, that way here, you can give it a small push. It takes some time, definitely. So, it's funny, and I have to say, maybe a little bit over-engineered, isn't it? And yeah, maybe in winter time, I don't know. We gotta test it maybe in Sweden again at -20 or something at the polar circle. And here, what's pretty cool, standard that you have on both sides charging possibility, and on the passenger side, then here, at least for this model, and here also the AC charging. As I said, I asked them explicitly for that. So when you have a right-hand drive model, the steering wheel will be on the right side, but the AC will still be on this side and the DC on that side. And it always depends more on the country, like what makes more sense. And charging is really quick. They profit from the 800-volt architecture, which is also for the Porsche Macan or the Audi Q6 e-tron or the Porsche Taycan. Here, 21 minutes state of charge, 10 to 80%. That is really, really good for both batteries. And the peak here for the big battery is 270 kilowatt, and the peak for the small battery, 225 kilowatt. And it can also recuperate a lot actually just by braking as well. That would be 220 kilowatt peak. And very important to know, what about the outgoing Audi A6? You maybe remember that one here, the combustion engine model. This one here now, the all-new electric one. Well, the new logic is that all the even numbers, Audi A6, Audi A4, Audi A8 and so on, all the even numbers now that come new to the market are the electric versions, and the odd numbers, like Audi A3, Audi A5, Audi A7, these are the combustion engine models plus plug-in hybrid and so on. So the logic here then is that in this segment here, the A6 is the electric one now, and the A7 then is the ICE, and that one will also basically replace multiple models at the same time. So the all-new Audi A7 is replacing the combustion engine A6 and the A7, whereas this one here, the new electric one. So a little bit of rearranging the whole naming portfolio. Our S6 here for today, by the way, which we will drive later, this one here is Malpelo Blue, this beautiful color. And in this case here, we don't have a black package on, so the Audi rings are here bright, which I think is way more visible. And here also these contrasting mirror caps, typical for the S models, so I would always get this one without a black package. Now we're getting to the interior, but quick info about the suspension: base steel suspension or optional adaptive air suspension. We have it also equipped with this vehicle. Would be standard for the S model. Then door closing sound. Here, like the handles are like integrated and you don't have a physical feedback. This is with soft close, and when I really slam it, it sounds nice. Rear as well. Yeah, so the great door closing sound, and here once again in detail with the soft close, because when you have a soft close, of course, you can also closing me softly. There we go. And this is the key fob, matte, light, good quality, like that. Then there's a lot of Sahara sand here around. Then inside of the doors, top part is structured but still quite hard actually. Then this insert here, okay, that looks a little bit cheap, honestly. In this case, we have a fabric insert. There are different stylings available. Classic window levers, they have nice clicking sound, optional Bang & Olufsen sound system. Then hashtag capacitive BS, because this whole thing is one button and then you control different regions. But here in this spec, these two are basically dead because you control the digital mirrors here anyway. And you can hear like control a little bit like where, oh, you can even do that. Interesting, right? So let me just show that to you. Here. There we go, and you can adjust them a little bit, and they are now placed higher and more inward. With the original e-tron models, it was like here, which was really bad. Now it's better visible. Yeah, but as I said, I'm more the fan of classic mirrors. However, we have entry sill badge here, because this is the S-line as well. Then we have also the steering wheel, flat bottom, stitching on the inside, and at the moment here everything is shut off. I want to show you how it looks like. Black field here, all blacked out on the screen, and soon I'll turn it on and then you can see the difference. Then seats, you have normal seats and sport seats from the form. This also the sport seat has like a rider shoulder accentuation, then would be an additional sport seat available as well. And this then here the fabric. So you cannot get it on every market. This is, for example, available in Germany. On the US and UK market, so far not. And they're actually quite cool. So I like the fabric surface. Maybe they could be like a little bit softer in the cushion overall, but they have also good ergonomics. In the UK and US market, the focus will be on the seats that have mainly leatherette and some small parts of animal leather on the outside here and maybe on top. So we have to really go into the details there. But overall, ergonomics are good. But I think it would be better if they offer like a perforated leatherette, the complete seat, like BMW does. It's a more consistent approach than this is like really a little bit complicated also for the customer. Then here, headroom with 189, 6 for 2. Still some headroom left. And the steering wheel here is actually, you feel a little bit like in the all-new Audi A5, I have to say. It has the same dashboard and so on, and also from the seating position. But maybe, once again, a little bit higher because of that battery skateboard than in the lower button. An animal-free steering wheel is also available, by the way, but you have to select it. Now taking a look at the cockpit. Here, this screen unit here, 2 different monitors on that one. And then optional the passenger screen. If you would not have that base version, it would be here, this high gloss black, the whole area. This then from the mid technology pack. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of passenger screens, are you? But yeah, I mean, that's just up to you, basically. Then with the fabric interior, we also have the fabric detail here, so why not? But as I said, there are different ones available. Also illumination now at the steering wheel, soon more deals to that. Large middle console indeed, and here you have still a manual volume jog, for example. In the front, 2 USB-C chargers, they're also illuminated. This is here the ashtray equipment. Interesting. Yeah, it's not broken, it's just like a attachment mechanism there. Okay, and then there is also, yeah, do not smoke in the car, yes, exactly. And then here there's like an inductive charging pad. It's really hard to see. It's like on the back side. It's also ventilated, but then you have to put your smartphone in like this. I don't know if that's the best solution.
And your Apple Pay is always.
Yeah, and sometimes stuff is activated then while putting it in there. The drive select for the driving modes is here. You have to press it then. You can also press it through, so you can press here and switch between the driving modes. You don't have to then select that in the screen, so that's at least something. Then here, switch gear, drive, reverse. Yeah, a lot of high gloss black here, not a fan. Here, good quality for the adaptive cup holders, they fit different sizes. Then the fabric covering here for the armrest and more space underneath. Actually here, you can even, wow, that's like the first aid kit, so there's actually good space underneath here, so why not? Yeah, and you need that microfiber cloth to clean the high gloss black features and also all the screens and so on. And here now, well, what about the driver perspective? And here we go, steering wheel. Yeah, these Audi rings are now 2-dimensional. I mean, they are well built, but the ones that are really like touchable, you can feel them. I think I preferred the ones before. Here now, illuminated is all actually capacitive once again, but at least you have some kind of clicking feedback from that whole button. And then you can also switch through some views here in the instruments. Here, by the way, you see like a power output like that. And then you can also get, of course, a head-up display. And here on this favorite button, you can, for example, set the deactivation of the speed limit warning. Then the main infotainment unit here, yeah, it does reflect a lot. You can even see us in the mirroring here. With your real eyes, it's a little bit better than, you know, on the camera, I have to say. These are the main hotkeys. You always have here on the left side, for example, also the charging menu, so you can set the charging target. And here, yeah, this is then the climate unit. And once again, I wonder, like with the A5, here, this, like the thought behind it is that you rest your hand here and then do it like that. But I'm not sure if I would like to drive like this. This is like you can hold tight while driving. At least here it's not that wide like in the Audi A5. But you are kind of forced to do it like that, because otherwise you have to do it like this, something like that. I don't know. The classic Audi turning knobs would have been better, definitely. And then here you can also access Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless or wired, both is possible. 20 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, by the way. Really decent sound, especially if you tune up the bass. I have 1 or 2 systems which are maybe my favorite. This is not like my most favorite one, but is doing a good job. This one has also the integrated speakers in the head restraint. So you can hardly hear that. It's rather just when you turn your ear against the head restraint, then you do hear that. Otherwise you don't hear so much from it. It's mainly used, for example, when like the music is running, and then there's like a GPS guidance, like turn right in 200 meters, whatever. Then it's more audible over these speakers. So they use that, you know, for this kind of thing. Not that necessary, honestly. And driving at night looks like this. Here with the ambient lighting, you have this strip going all the way across and a little bit under the screen. And here when you hit the indicators, see it here, it also has this cascading effect on the interior, actually. So that's, yeah, that's interesting. Why not? Also here on the right side. And also something at the inside of the doors. And here these digital mirrors at night. So yeah, I mean, I don't like the basic concept, but how they look like at night is actually quite okay. Also when you hit the turning indicators, you can once again see it also there. Yeah, I think it's really a question of philosophy. I will talk more about that in the driving part. So this part is left out, that it doesn't irritate you when looking to the front. When you go in park mode, then the ambient light is complete. And here, when you hit the turning indicator, you might ask yourself, what is this white line there? So only when I hit the turning indicator. And the thing is that here, it's the visualization. And then when I have this visualization in the left part, they don't want to limit this area. And so it shows the same image. It's just squeezing the image a little bit here between the white line and the green. And then the white line shows where the image is squeezed and here not. Rear seats, first of all, here inside of the doors, this is not too soft in the top part, but structured. And here we also have the fabric inserts if you have these fabric seats. However, all hard pack here in the lower part then again. Then it's really exciting. First of all, ISOFIX here on the outside, and you can open and close that easily. Then you can fold down this here for cup holders, and they're also adaptive and good build quality, what you see and feel here, everything. Then when I'm taking a seat here in the Sportback, headroom with 189, 602, it still works for tall adults. It's a little bit different than if you have the glass roof. It gets you a little bit more headroom actually, and then the Avant as well. And then the leg room, yeah, I mean, it fits also for tall adults when the tall adult is driving, but you see the usage of space is not that good. That's the thing. And also how you sit here, look at that, the angle of my legs. I mean, it's okay. But I have had more comfortable positions here, and the reason is also that you have your feet relatively high because of this electric battery then in the lower part, yeah, of this platform here. So the floor builds high, and that's why the feet are high like this, you know, and that's resulting in this, yeah, not ideal seating position. So considering it's a large vehicle, it should just be more luxurious in the seating position in the rear, I feel. It's not bad or something like that, but it should definitely be better considering the length. This is how it looks like, by the way, when there's no illumination in the rear. It's a big difference, isn't there? Then trunk, 500 liters, both for the Sportback and for the Avant. It's just a liter difference when you fold the seats and then really load it up to the roof, because the only difference is that, yeah, maybe like here a little bit more height in the Avant, but you see it hardly makes any difference. This is as accessible as the Avant trunk, and here you have really massive space. It's really well usable, 1.40 meters in width here, and the normal length is about 1.15 meters or 45 inches, and the height then here maximum level is like 72 centimeters or 28 inches. Kind of funny, here in the back part. You can lift this one open. Well, some space underneath for that. And then what I find kind of peculiar here, you can unclip these here like a floor mat. And then you could also lift out that whole thing. And yes, this needs a detailed explanation, because I was asking myself really like, what is it for exactly? And that's the reason here. So let's just imagine they have some, leaves, dirt, whatever. Then you can unlock it here and take the whole thing out. Yeah, this is actually the reason. And then I was thinking, I'm soon going to show you the Estate, the Avant. And that one has like a thick cover on the bottom all the way through. And this one here does not. And the reason is, this is the cheapest solution. This one you can pull back and take it out. And this top part you could also put out if you want, actually. There we go. And well, to fold the seats, we could reach over here, but yeah, it's not the most practical thing. You have to have, I don't know, winding fingers with that, I don't know, like this. Then you can also just put this middle part as a ski hatch, that's possible. Or you can fold as a 2/3, so that's all possible like that. Yeah, you see it raises a little bit then to the interior, but that's nice in the transition still. And there we go. The full length is actually 2 meters or 79 inches. And a quick look at the Avant trunk here. This is then the Estate, and you can see you get a little bit more height right here, but it's not the largest difference. There is one difference here. So this one here automatically raises and goes down again, this cover here. And then you have a more premium solution here for the bottom cover. So it's thick also back there, and you can also put it down a stage like this. Then it's like this Sportback position, just that it's also fixed right here. So a better solution, I feel. And you can also remotely unlock the seats from here. And then you either have this transition, or if you lift the bottom in the higher position once again, then it is even more going through. Launch control. Plop. Woo! Nice. So that was 0 to 60 kilometers an hour. Very nice. This is here not the most performing model, but rear-wheel drive only, but already pretty decent in the acceleration actually here. So here is that the 5.4 seconds to 100. So yeah, I think for most cases definitely sufficient. And we have here on our way some nice winding roads where we can test the sportiness of this vehicle, and of course all the other driving aspects. And this will be here super crucial, since yeah, especially in the interior, there were some things that we criticized, also that you don't have too much space in the rear and stuff like that. But now in driving, you start driving and think like, wow, this is really cool. So here, tight corners, and you have to think about it's still a large battery, and this is a heavy vehicle, but we sit relatively low. Center of gravity is also low, and the vehicle doesn't feel as heavy as it actually is. And this is something they really mastered. After all, it's also half a Porsche, so to speak. They work together on these EV projects here, Audi and Porsche. Same also for the Q6 e-tron and the Porsche Macan. Just that this one here does not have like a exact correspondent at Porsche yet. So it drives here really well. Nice steering input. Here also in the dynamic mode. It's progressive, don't have to steer that much actually. And the car is also extremely silent. The tarmac here is actually quite rough, and we'll soon also drive a little bit quicker on the motorway. Then we can also take a look at these figures there, and also when we're at the higher speed numbers and so on, and how it behaves. But here already you hear nothing from the road. Nothing as for wind noise in here. When cars are coming towards us, you hardly really, you see the cars, but if you would not see them, you would not hear them passing, So otherwise, you hear like vroom, vroom, but that doesn't happen here. And here, you can really hold it very nicely in the corner, then acceleration out. That's cool in the dynamic mode. It gives you a little bit of room to play with the rear. That's what I like about the rear-wheel drive version here. It feels actually a little bit sportier than in an all-wheel drive version in the sense of how you get out of the corners. So this one here, Sportback with the rear-wheel drive, I think is really a hot tip for best range and at the same time best fun in the drive. Yes, the all-wheel drive models, and especially the S, of course have better acceleration, they're quicker. But maybe you don't always need that. This one here is definitely quick enough. And as for the driving agility, especially out of the corners, this is really so much fun. Like here, that's really amazing, pretty cool. Let's see if we feel any difference when we are in the normal comfort mode, for example. Yeah, suspension gets a little bit softer because we have the air suspension here, it's adaptive. So yeah, we immediately have a float here, right? Steering also is a little bit lighter, so maybe like for these roads here, it's a little bit better to have more resistance from the dynamic mode. But also in the normal comfort mode, it behaves very well. Yeah, steering-wise, definitely prefer the setting in the dynamic mode than here. But still, it doesn't lean at all to the sides or something. Do you feel a difference?
A little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah,
a little bit,
yeah.
huh? Here, this is like the comfort mode when we go left and right. And now the dynamic mode. Yeah, that's, yeah. So more stiffness from the suspension, also a little bit more resistance from the steering. So definitely for sporty driving, the dynamic mode is more fun. Good setup. And then maybe when we go to the motorway, we can put in the comfort mode again and enjoy this surplus in comfort and a little bit more this carpet ride. So the air suspension in the dynamic mode, you don't feel it's an air suspension because it's stiffer, but in the comfort mode, you do feel the air suspension, that you have this floating ride. And you have to think about, we have the 21-inch wheels mounted here, so the biggest wheels possible. They take away some comfort, but for that, the suspension really evens that out very, very well, that we still have great comfort, although we have large wheels. So better comfort and range, of course, if you stick with smaller wheels. Best comfort and best range with 19-inch wheels with the base wheel size, of course. So you always have to think about how you want it to drive, how you want it to look, but what do you want to have as the result in performance and in the range performance and also in the comfort. So you can always vary that a lot with the wheel choices, but yeah, I'm enjoying this super much. It is sporty, at the same time super comfortable, and I can just stress enough that here, geile wheel, but yeah, we're always keeping the speed limit here, very important. Now here in the roundabouts, it's also cool, good brake feeling. So usually the regenerative braking is set to basically nothing, or adaptive, that it reacts accordingly to the situation. For example, when there's a car in front of you or something. You're holding tight?
Yeah. There's no,
yeah. Good point. Yeah, Leah is pointing out that there are no handles or something like that. So you cannot hold on as a passenger to something. So then she has to push against the door. Yeah, that's really sad. A lot of the manufacturers, they are saving that actually. So some cost saving as for that you don't have really. There are no handles at all from the inside. Yeah, so then Leah has to hold onto the door when I'm doing the driving experiments here. Yeah, back to the recuperation. So usually in the auto mode, so for example, when the car's in front of me, then you have recuperation. Other than that, I use the brake pedal for regenerative braking, or I can use the shifting pedals, and here in different levels, here to a strong one, for example, 2 levels, or I use the switch key here, put it back, and then I'm in the B mode. This is the one pedal driving mode that has the strong recuperation. However, it will always be resetted to the auto mode and when you restart the vehicle again. But at least here, for example, when I'm driving downhill for a longer period of time, it's maybe more convenient to put a regenerative braking mode in than to use the brake pedal. But yeah, you can just decide that on your own. I'm more a fan of using the brake pedal because I'm used to that. Yeah, but then again, people who've been driving like a Tesla for a couple of years, they say, hey, I just want one pedal driving feeling, and that's it. So, but the non-Tesla EV manufacturers usually have the philosophy that the base setup is low regenerative braking and use it with the brake pedal. It's just a different philosophy. What's always the case is that it doesn't change anything from the efficiency, because when you use the brake pedal, first the recuperation is happening, and then the rear brakes are being applied when you actually need more braking power. And some motorway driving. Yeah, so quick that you get the acceleration again, really, really nice. And definitely this rear-wheel drive version, yeah, is enough acceleration, I would say. Let's go to the balance setting maybe. Balance is now the new normal mode to have something, a good compromise between comfort and sportiness. And we can also test the assistance systems, setting here the cruise control. And they don't have like the newest, tech in the way of, we go maybe something level 3, or we offer a level 2 system like BMW, where you can drive at higher speeds without like taking hands off the steering wheel. Maybe look through the mirrors to make an automatic lane change. No, like the most sophisticated tech is not in there, but all the standard level 2 systems are trimmed to a very, very good perfection, actually. So here's, by the way, also a blind spot monitor, like an additional yellow sign here. And here, look at that, also when the road is slightly bent, the corrections from the steering are really, really finely tuned. So very smooth, so very, very well done. So overall happy with these systems. And when we talk about systems and blind spot monitor, we got to talk about the side mirrors there and also the digital mirrors. So the normal side mirrors, I think, is good when you have in combination with the blind spot monitor. Here with these digital mirrors, you got a lot of pros, first of all. And one pro is you have no blind spot. Then it's more aerodynamic, and they also perform good at night. On the negative side is, on the negative side is that like the positioning here might be a little bit better even for the normal mirrors, but they are here in this generation, they are placed definitely better in this position. Yes, that's okay. But the more crucial point to me is the focus. So when I'm looking straight here, I have wide focus. And also when I'm in the normal, looking to the normal mirrors, yes, they're also like the same distance almost. But the thing is that because you're looking in the mirror image, this is still wide focus and you don't have to change, and that's quick. And you also have the impression of a three-dimensional image of your surrounding with the normal mirror. Here with the monitor, it's two-dimensional and the focus is close. So it takes half a second when you look straight, wide focus, then you look here, it's close, and the older you get, the longer it takes to change the focus. That's just a natural thing. So it is not as quick for the information to your brain as when you look into normal mirrors. It's just that like that, period. So yes, as I said, it has pros and cons, but the change in focus is to me the main reason why this is less safe than a normal mirror in combination with the blind spot monitor. So I would always take normal mirrors with the blind spot monitor in combination. That's, I think, the best solution overall if you consider like the capabilities of the human brain and also the human eye. So yeah, that's my take to that. Would be looking to your feedback on that one, of course. You can get used to it, no doubt about that. But overall, I think this change in focus is the like the main argument, and also bifocal glasses. So if you have them, if you need them, they can also cause problems when you have them, and same goes also for the digital normal back mirrors and so on. Yeah, but definitely a topic that can be discussed. Interesting, like the solution, how they did it is perfect for that solution. That's great, but still a fan of the normal mirrors for the explained reasons. And let's talk about the competitors and also how it compares here in driving. So I've been wondering that an ID.7 could also be a competitor indeed. For example, the small battery here of the A6 e-tron and the ID.7 in the high spec, they are approximately the same battery, and then also comparable prices. The Audi, of course, more expensive than when you put extras in it. The thing is, the ID.7 has a better interior concept, way more space, especially in the rear for the passengers there and for the trunk. So the ID.7 is the better usable car. The difference from the ID.7 to the A6 e-tron, where the A6 e-tron can score, is indeed the driving. This one here drives and feels sportier. It feels more sophisticated in the driving. It's also a little bit more silent and so on. There you feel the difference then, you know, to the like premium brand to non-premium. But from a family perspective of how you can use the vehicle, actually in that case you have to take the ID.7, honestly. If the whole, like, if you don't have 2 or 3 kids or something and the space is not too important for you, you really want to focus on the driving, then you would prefer the Audi A6 e-tron if you think about this comparison. Then of course Mercedes EQE. The thing is there that the interior concept is basically even worse than this one here, and also the seating is less comfortable. Then you also have the separate trunk in the rear, so this one here is better usable than the Mercedes EQE. And honestly, this one here, not sure if you agree to me or not, but I think that this one here looks way better than the Mercedes EQE. The BMW i5 has, together with the ID.7, the best seating, by the way. ID.7 seats and BMW i5 seats are really great. ID.7 best with the microfiber seats. The i5 best with the comfort seats package in the Veganza high-grade leather red trim. Also with active cooling and so on. So they did it best in that respect. The i7 also drives very well. There the thing is that battery-wise, it's in between. So small battery of this one, then the i5 battery at like 81 kilowatt hours, and then the big battery of this one. So with the big battery in the Audi A6 e-tron, you can go even further than with the BMW i5. If you then think about comparing it to the smaller battery, then they're like almost equal, or the i5 is a little bit better. So this is about the battery choice. And of course, if you compare this one here to basically all of the rest of the competitors, this one here charges the quickest. So in DC charging, this one here is definitely the quickest. As for the pure driving aspect, I think this one is among those which are best in driving, yes. The i5 also drives very well, but if you just focus purely on the driving aspect, I think that this one could actually be the best. Just, you know, when you consider the driving, how smooth it is, how sporty it feels, how much fun it is in driving, how light it feels, although it is not light. Also the noise insulation. So I feel this is my favorite here in driving, then probably the i5. Yeah, but then of course you also have to consider the other aspects like the usability of the vehicle and some of the solutions on the interior and so on. And then of course it's also personal preference and also the concise leasing rates you get with each of these vehicles. But yeah, to give you like a little closer insight of all my experience with those different vehicles here. But yeah, I can just stress again, driving it here, so nice, so smooth. What do you think? Leah agrees. So are you getting sick as a passenger in winding corners or no?
I'm
That's
fine,
always a good sign definitely as well. Now the S6 launch control. That one triggered the Leah meter. Nice. Yeah, so
That's the difference. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I mean the difference in numbers is only 5.4 versus 3.9 seconds, and here in this case to 100, but here to 60, it's obviously even more crucial. So you have an additional motor in the front then, and more power overall. Yeah, definitely way more serious punch. Whew. And you also feel we are starting here in the dynamic mode, and in the dynamic mode especially you can feel that the suspension setup is stiffer. Here we also have the optional air suspension. Well, in this case then the S it's standard, so otherwise optional, but in the S model it's standard. And here then in the dynamic mode it is noticeably stiffer, and the overall setup is also stiffer no matter in which mode you are in. And as long as the road is even and nice, it's cool, but you definitely also lose some comfort with that. So you just have to know that and then decide. Also a lot of fun, and of course now these winding corners are more fun to drive in the S model. Really just like finally stepping on the throttle and then you have that goes so quickly here. So this is definitely a performance car now here in that S-Spec. Yeah, and you just feel it's a little bit more aggressive in all different respects. So the exterior is not really that different at all from the differentiation. But here in the driving feeling, you notice these differences. I mean, still, it's not like it would be a completely different vehicle or something. It still feels similar, especially in driving, but you feel these subtle differences. And here, when I'm going to the comfort mode, for example, then
the sound is.
Yeah, that was like this, not this, like this electric emulation. In the comfort mode, I would say, yeah, the question is it in the comfort mode as sporty as the sport mode or dynamic mode in the normal vehicle? No, I would rather say it's like comfort mode of the normal one, then comfort mode of this one, then dynamic mode of the normal one, and then dynamic mode of this one, like from comfort to sportiness. Because here also the steering is a little bit softer again and the suspension is more forgiving. And in this comfort mode, you can also very well drive this one here as a daily driver, no doubt about that. It's not that you have like a large compromise. And then you can also choose the wheels. Here in the S model, 20-inch would be standard. You could also stick with these and then you once again have a more comfortable setup. But both are really a lot of fun in driving. Of course, it will be a huge price difference, and the all-wheel drive model will also be a little bit less efficient, also when you're like driving long term and so on. So yeah, you can really fine-tune that if you want the most range-oriented model and best comfort, or if you want something sportier. Yeah, it's just so much fun. I rarely had so much fun in driving a vehicle that is so large and so heavy. That is, to me, the special thing about it. Yeah, here also in dynamic mode, when you go some left and right, so precise again, nice and good feelings. It feels so balanced. That's what it does. So once again, also here in the S model, because we've been driving also like an EQE 53 or like a BMW i5 M60. It's an M60, yeah. I think it was an M60. Yeah, the numbers are constantly changing there as well. Also here in these performance models, I think they master the compromise of sportiness and comfort very, very well. So yeah, it's a tough choice if I would go for the normal one or the S model. It really depends on what you want to get out from your vehicle. Pricing starts with a small battery, 63,000 euros in Germany, for example. Then when we go with a bigger battery, it's already at 76,000 euros or 71,000 pounds in the UK. However, if you then spec that vehicle, put a lot of things in, as it stands here right now, it's already above 90,000 euros. And an S6, for example, then around 100, and of course a little bit plus then with some extras and so on. What about the concise consumption and range? So what we did firsthand was to do like a long loop. Not too high speeds, because here on the island of Tenerife, very beautiful place, you cannot drive too fast, but you have a lot of topography changes. But this car is really good in recuperation, and that meant that even when we went uphill and used more energy, going downhill, we got so much energy back in again that we had a very ideal consumption, also here with very mild temperatures of about 15 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, so like 4 miles per kilowatt hour. That's of course like most ideal ever, and that means that here with the big battery it could go over 600 kilometers or like 400 miles. With the small battery then 500 kilometers or 300 miles approximately. However, if you go motorway, higher speed like 120, 130 kilometers an hour, like 70, 80 miles an hour, then of course the consumption also goes up. That's a natural thing. Here the best of course with the Sportback version, rear-wheel drive and smallest wheels, that would be the best combination. But even then, you could realistically calculate with some 500 kilometers or 300 miles for the big battery then. So overall, good efficiency figures for this one here. And then the question is, overall, and also against the competitors, I think it still looks pretty cool. Interior has here and there some things that need to be improved. hard to improve it also later on, because, for example, the rear legroom, yeah, it's nothing you can do about it with this model other than redesigning it completely. So I think the rear comfort needs to be better in this segment here. Also the seating comfort in the front, there, for example, the ID.7 or the BMW i5 is doing way better in the Einsitzhöhe, like, you know, the seat cushioning from the depth here. So that should have been better here in the all-new A6. I think it's cool that you can choose between the Sportback and the Avant version. The Sportback, in a way, to me, makes more sense because it combines both purposes, exterior look and the versatility on the interior, and it's also the more efficient one, actually. Yeah, and then overall, you have to think about this one here is so good in driving. This is where this vehicle is shining. Sporty but comfortable from suspension at the same time. So the driving dynamics here, plus efficiency, plus the fast charging, this is where this vehicle is shining. Then the question is if this one shines over the other things where the other competitors are maybe better. And you should check them out right now, like the BMW i5, or check out the ID.7 if you want to go a little bit cheaper.